Hi friends, welcome to today's all levels 60-minute class. The pose that we're concentrating on today is half boat pose. And as you start to watch the visual here, you're going to notice that it's not lining up with my mouth and how I'm speaking. My mic didn't work during the recording of this class, so I'm going back through and adding in the audio here. All right, to start, please lie on back. Lie back like you're starting in Shavasana. And once you find yourself in Savasana, I want you just to take a moment, check in with your body, your breath. Notice the heaviness of your body against the yoga mat. And as you start to come into acknowledgement, body, breath, and practice together, take in these words of gratitude that I'm using to open each class this month. And these come from Morgan Harper Nichols. I hope you do not feel like you shouldn't be able to talk about how difficult it is to wait and trust in the process. Please do not let anyone make you feel like you are automatically ungrateful just because you are struggling to see where the light pours in. Yes, a daily practice of gratitude is incredibly valuable to your well-being, but it does not mean that you have to pretend you are immune to the strong emotions that come with waiting. Learning to trust in the process is about learning to trust that there is so much happening beneath the surface, beneath the layers of worries, doubts, and long list of things you have not figured out. There is endless, boundless grace that gives you room to feel what you need to feel while also moving forward one step at a time. Let this be what you're grateful for, the opportunity to keep going, to keep trying, to keep waking up each morning knowing that even if you didn't have the best start, or even if the failures of yesterday still seem to haunt you, you are free to try again. You are free to trust and embrace the process of learning every lesson you need to learn that you know is only going to prepare you for whatever lies ahead. All right, and then I would like you to slowly adjust, come upright, find a yoga block, hit pause if you need to find that yoga block, but go get it. And then place the yoga block, if you look up at the screen where I have it now, on the very lowest part of the shoulder blades. So tips of the shoulder blades, the flattest part of the block. Place it under your back. This is thoracic spine. Soles of the feet on the floor, and then place the hands just behind the head like a little catch or a little netting, and let the head fall back into the hands so you're kind of arched over the yoga block in an extension of the spine. Do that for several breaths, and then, like you're doing a crunch, lift the head so that you can see ahead of your knees. Not a lot of pressure here still. And one foot at a time, lift up and then set the foot down. Lift the other leg and set the foot down. And then we'll take, with a knee bent, lift the right leg up and hold. So the block should be supporting you here. You'll lift the other leg up as well. It's almost a 90-degree bend of the legs. This is our first boat pose of the class. And then you'll lower the legs, catch the hands behind your thighs, and come on safely upright. Okay, we're going to do that exact same thing, but with the block at the second height. And the block at the second height here is actually more supportive when we get back to that boat pose, though it's going to ask you for more extension, more back bend, if you will. Be good to yourself. Set yourself up. Again, tips of the shoulder blades, hitting that lowest edge of the block. Hands behind your head, like we typically hold for good old crunches. Elbows straight out to the side and let your head kind of lean back so that you get that feeling of extension here. Take several breaths. Imagine nice full breaths in the lower part of the ribs, but still knitting belly button down towards the spine so you feel safe, held here. And then again, you're going to rise about halfway up so that you very much feel like you're in a crunch in the upper body. I can see past my knees and see all the way to the toe. When you lift the right leg, straighten the right leg, and then set it down. Lift the left leg up, straighten, and set it down. And then you're going again, both legs up, knees bent at about a 90-degree angle. This is higher on the block. It should feel a little more supportive. So can you straighten the legs here for a straight leg boat pose, supported on the block, and grab behind your thighs and roll on up. Cool? Okay. No more use for the block right now. We're going to use it several times in class, so just set it somewhere handy and lie all the way down onto your back. Stretch the arms out fully overhead, long, big reach from the fingertips down to the heels. I actually do want you to let the low back arch away from the yoga mat, as if you're lifting the belly, kind of lifting in those low ribs right now. Just a full extension. Each time you have your arms overhead like that, I want that full extension. But now change your hands, arms, so they're straight up towards the sky. And bend the knees. Have your heels on the ground, but still your feet up. So heels on the ground, but toes up is what I mean. And we're going to do literally 20 crunches like this. At the bottom of the crunch, each time, reach your arms overhead. So they reach towards the wall behind you. As you come up, reach the hands straight up towards the ceiling. And you're doing a crunch, not a sit-up, just a crunch here. About 20 times. So just keep going. I like to make an S sound on every exhale of the breath, and exhale the breath out each time you come up in the crunch. It's just really locking you low into the gut. Good, full use of the breath with the work. Keep going. Here, you're almost there. Heating up the body right away. And release. Hold your knees into your chest. Nice squeeze. And come on up. Rock yourself up. And all the way over to all fours. So switch to all fours. Hands under the shoulders. Knees under the hips. Good old cat and cow. You can never go wrong here. Just move the spine up and down, back and forth. Couple more times through the cat and cow motion. And from cat and cow, we'll take it to downward facing dog. So once you're ready, tuck the toes and stretch the hips on up and back to downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, feel free to pedal out the feet, shift through the hips, do all those opening little movements that can feel really nice at the beginning as we're touching base with practice. Getting used to feel the foundation underneath the hands, underneath the feet. And then kind of settle into downward facing dog so that you have less movement in the outer form of the body, but still lots of nice full breath. Cool, and then step on up to the front of the mat. Stand all the way up, mountain pose. Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. And exhale, forward fold, getting into our sun salutation. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank and lower flat down to your yoga mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Steady the body, steady the breath. Next breath, look to the hands, step or jump forward. Next inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky, and exhale, palms together, center the chest. Here we go again, lift the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back. Lower down, Chaturanga. Change to cobra, peel the chest up, press down through the hands and feet, and downward facing dog, hips all the way up and back. Take a couple of breaths here. Look to your hands. On an exhale, step or jump forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Stand, reach the arms up to the sky. And exhale, palms together, center of the chest. Each time you're thinking about the breath today, really expand from right underneath the lower ribs. Think more diaphragmatic breathing here. Okay, changing to our lunge. Keep the right foot forward and step the left foot back into a high lunge. I tend to lean a little bit forward when I'm finding the balance for a high lunge, but then slowly find yourself more up and down, more vertical. Head straight up. Imagine the tailbone straight down. And go back into that thought of diaphragmatic breath. So like you're expanding underneath your low ribs to each side and to front and back. And at the same time, as you exhale, the transverse abdominis get a little stronger and draw in and down a bit. Inhale, expand. Exhale, pull in. Okay, keep breathing and lift the arms up to the sky, palms in. And then hinge from the waist and add a twist here. Left elbow to the outside of your right knee. You can take a little time, kind of nudge your way into that twist. Today I put the back knee down, kind of find extra stability. And then once you have the twist and you're set in the forward part of the body, lift the back knee off of the ground again and see how that continues to challenge and keep things interesting. Come out of the twist. Place both hands to the inside of your foot, inside of the foot. You kind of scooch the right foot out to the side and then all the way back to plank pose. Hold your plank pose, arms as straight as possible, and then even try rocking a little bit forward and back, like top of the shoulders more towards the fingertips and then back at the wrist, fingertips back at the wrist. You're doing that through a rock in the feet. You could also take the knees down and try that same bit of movement. And if that's too much on the wrist, just stay typical plank, no movement, no problem, toes or knees. Okay, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up into the sky, three-legged dog. Straighten the leg, make the leg straight. Do not bend the knee. Try to make right leg straight, left leg straight. Keep the right leg lifted in three-legged dog, but turn the hips down. Try to make the kneecap and the toes kind of point more down towards the mat instead of out towards the side. Nice long three-legged dog, and then pull the knee into the chest and hover forward in plank and step it all the way through. Come back up to your lunge. Big diaphragmatic breathing here. Expand at the lower part of the rib cage. Think out to the sides and front and back. Arms overhead. Okay, we're going to step forward. Back foot to the front, step together and sit into Utkatasana, power pose, chair pose. Look towards your hands here the whole time so you have a lift in the chest, and then take it into a twist. You're going right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. So this is the opposite twist as you did from the lunge. Untwist, come all the way back up, arms to the sky. Okay, we got to do all that on the second side. So as you release the hands down, this time you're going to keep the left foot forward and step the right foot back. Again, rather than being forward in the torso, try to be straight up and down. Just kind of take your time to do that. Tailbone down, chest lifted, head lifted. Find your way, your balance. Good breathing at the lower part of the rib cage. And I'm emphasizing this here because often we do those deep belly breathings in yoga. I want you just to think more a little higher to get into diaphragmatic breath, and then every exhale is what brings us into a strengthening of the transverse abdominis. Lift the arms up to the sky, little hinge forward, and we're going right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. And again, kind of nudge in there. Take your time with it. Maybe place that back knee down so you're not having to worry so much about balance, and you can get a pretty firm squeeze into this twist. And then once you're ready, the back knee can come back up. So I'm going as far as I can, like outer shoulder to outer thigh. You might end up landing somewhere like mid upper arm bone. Okay, as you untwist, hands to the inside, and step the left foot all the way back and around, again to plank pose. This time you're staying in high plank and marching. Keep the legs straight, and it's just lift, 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 lift. Keep marching, not super fast. Try not to let the hips sway from side to side. Rest of the body as sort of even keel as possible. And you're done marching. Go back to downward facing dog. And this time, lift the left leg up for three-legged dog. So left leg high, three-legged dog. And just like the first side, rather than letting the leg lift so high that the hips and shoulders start to turn to the side, I want you to square off the hips. Focus on lifting from the inner thigh as the outer hip turns down on that left leg. Leg as straight as possible, and then hug it in. Knee to chest, hover forward, and step it through to your lunge. Come all the way up, hands to the hips, high lunge, and then switch the hands to underneath the chest, right at the lower ribs. Feel your breath expanding the rib cage. And knitting, belly button still down, kind of into the spine. As the belly button knits back and in, a little lift of the pelvic floor. Arms up. Step forward. Chair pose. And add the twist here. So now it's left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. So you should have gotten in both sides of the twist in both the lunge and through chair sit. Stay with it and untwist. Stand all the way up. Reach the arms to the sky. Big full reach should feel pretty nice. Exhale, forward fold. Separate your feet a little wider, like as wide as your yoga mat. So you're in a standing forward fold with your feet just a little bit wider than hip distance, like outer hip distance. Rock more weight into your toes, a little less in the heels. Lift up on the kneecaps, tone the quads. All that good healthy stretch for the back of the hamstrings when we stay engaged and strong in the front of the legs. Standing forward fold, you're still here. Bring your hands to your waist and push down into your feet. Come all the way upright, nice long spine. Good. Bring the feet in, more hip distance apart here. And we'll get into a standing balance series. Lift your right knee up into the chest and hold underneath the thigh. Take both hands, hold underneath your thigh. And you'll either stay like this and kick the legs straight, or reach the hands down under your foot, both hands holding onto the foot, and kick the leg as straight as possible. Notice what's happening to the standing leg. Push down through the big toe, still lift up on the kneecap, tone the quad, and try to keep the standing leg as straight as you can. Ready? Come on down if you're still up. Shake it out. And we'll give it a try to the second side. So remember, you have those two different unique holds. It's kind of two different postures, but working a lot of the same elements. So when you first come up, hold underneath the left thigh, get your balance. At any time when we're doing these standing balance work and you want more grounding, you can place your back against a wall or one hand to the wall, something like that. All right, keep holding under the thigh or take the hold under your foot, wherever you are. Kick the leg to or towards straight. Whether that top leg is straight or not, who cares? But can you get the bottom leg straight right now? Give your attention and focus there. It adds in a little of the abdominal concentration. And then release. Shake out the legs. Okay, we're going to do a lot of the same, but a little different here. You'll take the leg out to the side instead of straight forward. Start the same way, right leg up, hook the arms underneath. And you can hook just one arm under as you take the leg out to the side and work towards straight. Or take the arm to the inside and hold the outside of your foot and then work the leg to or towards straight. Obviously, we didn't do a ton of prep for this pose, so we're just kind of throwing it out there and seeing what happens today. Don't be hard on yourself. Just go with breath, go with flow, and then come on down if you're still up, and let's give it a try on the second side. That other hand, I usually keep it on my waist because it just feels a little more grounded, but sometimes to counterbalance, hands straight out to the side can be nice. All right, so if you're not already going for it, left side, hook under the thigh, or again, hold arm to the inside, but hand holds on to the outside of the foot. Try to be really tall from the heel all the way up to the crown of the head. And take the leg out. Standing hand to big toe pose. Hastapangustasana. Give it one more breath and make your way safely on down. Shake it out. Good. So if you're not already there, come on back up to the top end of your sticky mat and grab your block. We're going to use the block again. Anytime I say grab your block and you're like, I'm not using it, I don't have it, I don't want to, that's totally fine. You do the same work as if you had the block. So we're going to place the block into our upper inner thighs and then take chair pose. This part of the class, we start to get into even more repetitions than what we've already done. So I want you with your breath to go exhale into chair pose and then inhale, stand up, arms to the sky. Exhale, chair pose, kind of squeezing inner thighs or squeezing into the block. The whole time, look a little more up so that every time you come into chair pose, you're looking beyond the line of your fingers. We're doing this to get some range of motion. See where that mobility is offering us in shoulders and hips working together here in Utkatasana. Keep sitting into chair and keep standing in alignment with the breath. You can work those same like sounds of the breath through every exhale. Okay, let's release it. Good job. Take the block out to the side. Right foot forward, left foot back. You're into low lunge. So hands down to the floor. And your regular twist here. So right hand up to the sky in your twisted lunge. Lower the back knee down to the floor. And we're going to add some repetitions in here as well. Kind of like twisted monkey. We're going to take our top hand to the back heel. So as you reach your top hand back, bend your knee and pull your heel in. They might touch, they might not, and then release. Pull in and release. Pull in and hold. And this time, as you hold onto the back foot, I'm getting ahead of myself in the audio. Sorry, you're pulling and releasing, pulling and releasing. All right, there we go. I'm actually holding on to the back foot now so that you get that more static stretch. You could also call it your passive range of motion for the quad stretch and shoulder opening. All right, and then we're going to release and find that yoga block again, place it to the inside of your foot and come on to your forearm lunge. Your block's got 3 heights. If your hips tend to be tighter and they're feeling tight today, go up on the higher height of the block or just don't use the block and stay on your hands instead of the forearms. Do try to have the back knee off of the ground. Work with your breath, even thinking of that diaphragmatic breathing here in your forearm lunge, or I like to call this one humble warrior. So bowing in. Okay, and then walk it on up to your hands. Slide your right foot more out to the side again, and then step all the way back to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Come forward to plank pose, lower it all the way down. Locust, hands back behind you, palms up to the sky. Inhale and lift. Lift, lift, lift. Locust pose. Lower it down, press back to child's pose. Enjoy that fold in, so the slight rounding in the spine as opposed to the belly down back bend shape. Friends, if you're thinking 30 minutes in, this is supposed to be about boat pose. All we did with those supported boats right at the beginning. Don't worry. You've got them coming. Let's get into our second side here though. So downward facing dog. And then step the left foot forward. Take the left hand. Oh, did I forget the twist on this side? I did. That's okay. You could take the left hand high to add the twist. We did that on the first side. It's fun to watch yourself back and add that audio. It's like, oh wait, we forgot something. Okay, and so then we set the back knee down and reach the left hand and the right foot in and out. Kind of do those little pulses towards your twisted monkey shape and then out. Take it several times here. And this is our active stretch. And then hold on to the foot and go more towards that passive range, just meaning you need something else to help you. In that case, it was our hand holding on to the foot. Okay, switching to our forearm lunge. So grab the block again, or just stay on the hands. If you've got really nice open hips, feeling good today in the hips, and you can go forearms all the way down to the mat, that's cool too. But again, do lift your back leg up, your back knee off of the ground so that you get that nice, firm, strengthening stability hold while you're in this forearm lunge. Stay with the breath. Okay, come on out of your forearm lunge, walk it up, and heel toe the left foot more out to the side, and step on back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank pose, lie all the way down to the mat. We're going for another repetition here. This is bow pose. That belly down back bend, holding onto your feet. The repetition, reach your hands back. Inhale, lift everything up like locust, but now bend the knees, kick your feet towards each other as if they're trying to catch the hands, and then extend the legs back out. Bend the knees, try to make the hands and feet touch, and then extend back out. Do it again, bend the knees and extend out. Bend the knees. Okay, now you reach the hands, and you can kind of rock side to side until can you get both hands to hold on to the feet at the same time. And then the repetition is like in and out through the breath, make a bigger movement in the upper body with the breath. Inhale, really lift. Exhale, it's kind of like a half release down. You do that a couple of times. And then when you're ready, release the pose and push back to child's pose again. Child's pose. Okay, we're going to switch. Nice work. Come sit on your bottom, and as you do that, grab your block. Again, I promised we were getting to the boat pose work. here it is. Again, we're making use of the block. Hold it in your hands. So I've just got it holding each side, and then take the block straight overhead. And this is the hard part here. We're trying to keep one line from our hips, shoulders, like ears, straight up to our hands, holding onto that block. Try not to have it forward or back. Whatever you do, keep that line. And then you're going to lean back just ever so slightly and come straight up again. So I think of this as like almost like a reverse crunch. You crunch back and then full sit up. Crunch back, keep the lift, extension in the chest and arms, and sit up. Crunch back, hold it, and sit up. Again, crunch back, hold it, breathe, and sit up. Crunch back, sit up. Yes, it went on a while. Okay, switch now. The block goes between the legs if you're using the block. And you take your hands behind you. Turn the fingers if possible so they face towards your heels. And I've got toes up, heels on the ground. And then take one or both legs up. Still got weight on the hands. You can keep it there. Or one at a time, take your hands forward. And then release the hands back, lower the heels. Cool? Okay, so same work, but no block. Take the block out to the side now. And then you set up the hands the same way. Think of that extension that we were doing. We were holding the block overhead through the chest and lift the feet. Knees stay bent. You keep the hands with support behind you, or more advanced, take the hands off and then hold behind your thighs and release. Just let the upper body kind of like hang forward in between the legs. Give yourself several breaths here. So we usually approach boat a different way, right? Without that hold of the hands behind you. I'm trying to get us already into a slightly lower position to really think about the strengthening of the transverse abdominals, kind of wrapping in almost like a corset around. Okay, and then we've been doing full boat, which is more like a 45-degree angle. I'm going to try to go to half boat now, which I think of as more of like a 60 or 70-degree angle of the whole body. So it's a little lower down. Walk your hands back again. And this time, as you prepare, nice and connected in the core, in the abdomen. Both knees come up, feet come up, and I want you to lean halfway back. So there's more bend in the elbows, and you're working with the hands. And then again, the hands can come forward, come up halfway, and then straighten the legs, go halfway down, and extend the arms out. Hold that canoe shape. Hands help you again. Come halfway up, all the way up, I should say, and then halfway down again. Shoot the legs out, extend the arms out. Shoot the legs out, extend the arms out. Hold behind your thighs and fold over. Good. Let your body just relax here. Several breaths just kind of hanging over your thighs. Okay, now we're going to lie all the way down onto our back, all the way down onto our back. Tuck your hands behind your head. Again, that little netting behind the head like we do in a crunch. Bend the knees and have your heels on the ground, toes up. Getting ready for a crunch and lift. Regular old crunch. Crunch and lift, the belly button down, but expand the breath on the lower ribs. Can you stay this low and lift the legs off? You're way, way low in this half boat in terms of the torso, but I'm still trying to lift shoulders, head, as much of the shoulder girdle as possible up, and then release and relax. Take the hands over the belly, give yourself a couple of breaths. So we went from sort of full boat to half boat. I mean, this one's like quarter boat. We're trying the legs extended. So again, bend the knees, heels on the ground, do the crunch. You're getting as high in that crunch as you possibly can. So it's just tips of your shoulder blades still on. You're feeling mid to low back on the mat, keeping the crunch in the upper body, and then extend the legs. Both legs up, both legs straight. Lift, lift, lift. Breathe, breathe, breathe. One leg at a time works as well. And lower it down. Nicely done. Give it a couple of breaths. Taking our time in between. Okay, stretch the legs straight. And then prepare. One more time. Heels to the ground. Crunch and lift. As high as you can get. Not a lot of weight in the hands there. Head's just barely being supported. And straighten the legs. Lift. Do your best. Squeeze it in. One leg or two legs. And you're done. Heels down. Release. Hug the knees into the chest. Hands around your shins. Long S breath out. And then take the hands to your T shape. Release both knees over towards the right side. Supine twist. Last week we were doing the work to hover and hold in firmly rotated pose. We did a lot of the work in the obliques. This one is just release and relax. Supine twist. And then take it over to the other side. So as you've experienced boat pose, works transverse abdominis, rectus abdominis. So that's the band around the belly and the front abdominal muscles. Bring everything back into the center and safely sit up. Okay, and then go ahead and stand all the way back up. We've got one more standing series. Not quite done standing. And really, I just want us to kind of extend, stretch out here. So stand at the front in mountain pose. First couple of things are going to be super familiar. Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And step it back to plank. Lower it down to the mat. Chest up for cobra. And then downward facing dog. Lift the right leg up and back, three-legged dog. And step all the way through to your lunge. And then we're coming up to warrior two. Spin the back heel down. Open up to the side. Extend the arms in either direction. Classic warrior two. That changes right into side angle pose. Have elbow onto the knee, and do keep that lift, elbow to knee rather than fingertips lower, and then top arm palm down overhead. Big full reach. Okay, down dog lunge, so reach your hands out. The left corner of the mat, even as you press weight still back through the legs, especially into the back foot. Down dog lunge. Okay, take the hands to the right to the inside of the foot. So low lunge with the hands to the inside of the leg. And here, I want your hands wide enough, just like they are in downward facing dog. So you're taking up a lot of the room of your yoga mat with the hands. Yeah? Staying in this lunge. And then heel toe the right foot further off to the side, like off of your yoga mat. And here, we're trying to create space. This is hard, to step the left foot right next to your right foot. We're trying to step all the way up, and you stay down and crouched as you do that. Feel free to just watch as you set a good foundation through the hands, through the right foot. And then we're going to try to slip the left foot forward right beside the right foot. I guess I had a lot more to say about that. We're still thinking about it. We're still prepping. There we go. Step it in. You're trying to crouch down. And then you're going to step that foot back. Step the left foot back again into the lunge. So this is prep for the work we're going to do next week in our 60-minute class in two-legged K-sage pose. Step the left foot in again. And then back, and I want you to try it one more time. Step the left foot in and back. And then step it all the way back to plank. Okay, down dog, lift the hips. And we get into our second side. Lift the left leg up and back, three-legged dog. And then step it all the way through into your lunge. And we're ready for warrior two. Remember good old warrior two first? Things we know, right? And then warrior two, take it into side angle. Elbow to the knee. Again, top arm, reach it long overhead, palm down. That hand's always trying to reach out past the line of the front toes. And then down dog lunge. Take the hands down to the floor. They can be more towards the side or up towards that right corner, and try to push your hips back, kind of square off more towards the back foot. Should have the heaviest amount of weight. Okay, and then walk the hands back in, and you're coming to that low lunge with both hands to the inside of your foot. And just hold it here for a minute. Try to get the arms straight, as straight as you hold in plank pose, and the hands as wide as they are in plank. And then heel toe the left foot off to the side, off of your yoga mat. Ideally, we're trying to line up all 10 toes and all of our fingers in the same, pretty much the same line. So you got to walk that foot out to the side enough that you've got some room to take that giant step forward, and right foot trying to come in and slip in between the left hand and the left foot. And you're in this kind of sideways crouched position. And then step the foot back and try it 2 more times. Nice pull in of the gut to get that motion. This is hard range of motion work. And then eventually both feet come back to your plank, and this time you can just sit it back into child's pose. Whew, release. That's kind of a funky way to get towards side crane pose or two-legged K-sage. So I just wanted to throw it out there as we're thinking about how this core work all comes together to feed what I think are some of the hardest of the arm balances. Okay, have a full seat. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Take the right foot in, cross it over, and supine, I'm sorry, not supine, you're seated, you're upright. Take a twist here. Hug the front of your shin, or you can go elbow to the outside of the thigh, but look towards your right side, or even back over your right shoulder. And then you're going to switch and take the left foot in and cross it over and add in the twist here. Do you want that deeper twist, or I'm going a little softer and easier here at the end of practice. This is all meant as a cool down. I always crave a little twist through each pause and each cool down, as well as each ramp up when I'm working core work. Then you'll release the twist, and just good old seated forward fold is Paschimottanasana. Don't be hard on yourself here, just a nice easy fold over, even round through the spine, totally good. All right, and then change to lie all the way down on your back. Friends, as you lie down here, just like we did in the beginning, give yourself a quick body scan. Try to feel yourself really heavy against the mat. And then take your hands at your low ribs again. So we've been working that diaphragmatic breathing throughout the class. I try to give us little hints as we're going along. I find it easiest to comprehend and to feel in the body when I'm lying down on my back. So we're going to do this diaphragmatic breath work a few times. Again, each inhale should feel as though your ribs, your lower ribs are kind of like expanding out, but then a pretty strong through each exhale to draw the ribs down towards the high part of your hips. So if the bottom of your ribs and hips in a neutral position, if you will, are say 6 inches apart, and if you do an extension or a back bend, those ribs might get further away, like 8 inches apart. I want you to go down to a 4 so that it's not just neutral, but actually knitted down a little bit. And that's great transverse process there. So with the hands on the low ribs, in your own time, Every inhale, really expand out big time, big, big breath. And then exhale, think of knitting down, 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 down. And then release and relax for like 10, 15 seconds before you try it again. Okay, and if this is making sense, and only if it is making sense, I'm going to add you one more thing. While you're knitting and ribs down, also think of pulling up and in on the pelvic floor. Like, what is the lowest part of the pelvic floor that your mind's eye can access? If you know Kegels, it can be as simple as that. I say simple, that's really not a simple thing. We oversimplify it. But inhale, you're expanding everything out. And then that exhale, knit down, down, down through the upper ribs. Pull in, and down through the pelvic floor. And then the biggest part of it all, release, 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 release. Try to really let it go. Don't get in a rush to try it again. Just let the whole body release. Pelvic floor, breath around the ribs. And then you'll try it one more time. In your time, that big, full, expanded breath. And then think of knitting the ribs down as you lift base of the pelvic floor. And release. Give yourself now just a easy experience of Shavasana. Stop worrying about breath. Stop trying anything. Just be. Continue with this time of silence and release through the body. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Okay, and in your own time, there's no rush here. But as you're ready, come back to a seated position. So if you're lying back, slowly make your way to a comfortable seat. And bring the palms together in front of the sternum. Really taking that extra moment of gratitude for the time to practice. The ability to practice with yourself, sort of in community, even though it's one-on-one through this video. It's all knitted together. We'll end in the sound of Om. I bow in deep gratitude to each of you, yourself, and for this practice. Namaste, friends. Have a wonderful day.